Here are my thoughts on whether or not you should keep or ditch the dummy for your baby after the age of 4 months old. And by dummy, I'm talking about a pacifier. And I, by no means, am anti-dummy. My first baby never needed it. She just sucked her thumb. My second baby, I actually tried 5 different brands, like, please take a dummy. And he had no idea what to do with it. And retrospectively, I'm glad because it's one less variable that I needed to wean out. But a lot of families that I work with have a dummy in the mix. So here are my thoughts at 5 months old. You can either ditch it cold turkey. You can even just do this for nights, but keep it for days, or if you need it for the car or travel or witching hour, that's fine. It's like 2 different parts of the brain, the nights and the day brain. So you can ditch it for nights, but you must be prepared with a really consistent, responsive, settling technique, sleep training technique to support your baby through this change because they are not in on the plan. Another option is that you couple the dummy with a sleep training technique and work to the boundary that once it falls out, it stays out. So that way you're not reinforcing that every time it falls out, I go and pop it back in, you spit it out, I'm back in, rinse and repeat all night. Your baby can go down with the dummy if they would like to use it and settle off to sleep, no problem. But if it falls out, it stays out. And then that's when you go in with your sleep training technique so that your baby can learn to settle with or without the dummy. Most babies can't learn to replace it until closer to 7 to 9 months. You're not that far off. And after they can replace it on their own, it can actually become a really positive sleep association because they can replace it on their own. But there's a limbo stage. So by doing this, keeping to the boundary of if it falls out, it stays out, it means that your baby can learn to self-settle with or without it. And another option could be that rather than it falls out and you go and replace it straight away, is that you start only replacing it, let's say every 5 minutes. So your baby still has a time to settle without it, and you're not reinforcing that every single time immediately I'll come racing in. The other thing that's always really important to consider when there is a dummy in the mix is that it is a variable that babies can't always replace on their own before 7 to 9 months, and it's one that we as adults in the dynamic have added in. So with that needs to come realistic expectations. So if you had a 5-month-old baby, for example, and you were still needing to pop that dummy back in once at like 3 a.m., yes, a bit tedious, but for me, that would be normal. You ride it out until they can replace it on their own, and then you stop popping it back in for them. But if you've got it into the situation where you're having to replace it constantly, I would either look at getting rid of it completely, or you start working to the boundary of once it falls out, it stays out.